Alright everybody, Revolver84 here, and with it being the 1 year anniversary of the Orsinium DLC, I thought I'd do a review of it. So let's get cracking. So first things first, let's show you how you get there. So in your starter town for every faction, there's this ambassador, and she's usually standing over like a table or a box or something. She's got a load of maps in front of her, trying to make herself look very important. And long story short is, she's there on behalf of King Kurog, who's wanting to try and rebuild his country, modernising it and such like. And she's standing next to a big, weird anti-type thing. I can't remember what they're really called, if I'm honest. And basically, long story short, there's supplies going to Wrothgar, which is the country that Orsinium is in. And you've basically got to protect one of the caravans. So accept that mission off the wife, and you'll be able to travel to Wrothgar and protect the caravan.
But you'll have to make it from there on your own. This is important. If those supplies don't...
So the DLC is called Orsinium, and Orsinium is the capital city of the province of Wrothgar. So you can see Wrothgar here, gives you an idea. There's the city is a major part of it, but the flora and fauna of the actual province is quite varied. So it is quite harsh. It's a lot of jagged rocks and steep mountain cliffs and sheer faces. About a third of it's covered in snow, and the rest of it's almost sort of like heath, I guess you could sort of say. Not fertile, not lush, sort of like a heath sort of type of land. Again, covered in boulders and rocks and such like. It's quite harsh. But that sort of makes sense for it being the homeland of the orcs. So let's talk about the DLC itself. So let's say it's the anniversary of it. It's been out a year now, and with the introduction of 1 Tamriel update, there's so much more incentive for people to go out and explore. But when this one first came out, it didn't so much matter anyway, because this province was accessible to everyone, and this had the sort of upscale and leveling that we now see with the 1 Tamriel update. So really, you could come in here whether you're a level 1 or whether you're a level, veteran rank 16. It didn't matter at all, because the area would always just rank to your ability, which is what they then carried on from that model into the whole 1 Tamriel update. So clearly they've obviously learned something from the Orsinium DLC itself. Orsinium as well, it's part of the multi-pack now that you can buy. So you can buy this one, you can buy Imperial City and buy Thieves Guild, and I forget the other one. Third one, Dark Brotherhood. That's the one. you can buy the first 4 DLC drops all together. So, and also as well, if you buy the Elder Scrolls Online Gold Edition, them DLCs come with the edition as well. So within the Orsinium area of the DLC, it's predominantly a PvE experience. It's in fact, there's no PvP element to it at all. There's the dueling, obviously, which came with the 1 Tamriel update, so you can scrap on with any random person you meet, as you would do in any other area after the 1 Tamriel update. But it's very much focused on a story, and the story is that there's a guy called King Kurog, who's an orc, who's trying to unite all the orc clans of the area together, with an aim of modernising at any expense the nation of Wrothgar. Very, very Stalinistic in that sense. Like, he doesn't really care at all what the price of it is. He just wants to modernise at all costs. So what does that mean? It means that you're going out there and you're doing a lot of things for the king, a lot of things to try and appease the clans, a lot of things to get the clans to come together to unite and recognise King Kurog as the overall king. But the king's a bit of an a-hole, if I'm honest. Goes around murdering people and stuff and that, and doesn't really care about the rights of individuals and such like. And that's the sort of story for the whole area. That's not to say there isn't plenty of other things to do as well. One of the niceties that's been added is there's a museum in Orsinium, which the king believes is important so that orcs don't lose sight of their heritage and such like. And within the museum, there's like 18 pieces of relics that need to be found. So you speak to the curator, and she sends you off, and it's not like normal quests where there's a nice, marker that you just need to walk towards and find. It's basically a list of potential locations, and they're quite vague, some of them. You've got to go off and you've got to find them. you find a relic which often is not very clear as to what it is. Sometimes it sticks out like a sore thumb, but other times it's in the most obscure places and it's quite difficult to get. And also as well, the descriptions, sometimes you're not very clear what you're picking up, but it is something else to do other than the mainline story. So you can go out there and you can search for these things in your own time, and you can watch the museum fill up as you start putting more of the relics on the pedestals and such like. And at the very end you get, well, not a lot really, you get like a costume and just the satisfaction of knowing that you filled the museum. Really, there's not a lot more to it. I haven't actually completed all 80 myself, but I've been told you don't even get a skill point, which is a bit surprising for all the effort. But that's one other thing that you can do as part of the experience.
I appreciate your help. You wouldn't believe how much goes into getting the museum ready for visitors. Just preparing the displays was a Have you heard of the mountain called Sorrow, along the northern border of Wrothgar? According to the Burska clan's oral tradition, the helm was last seen in that area. This one gives me chills. The helmet was worn by the legendary orc hero Uzdavik, who single-handedly slew 1001 Redguards during for the time period, I'd say so. And even now, as Wrothgar struggles with the clashing cultures of city and stronghold, examples such as this go a long...
Another PvE element is the introduction of the Maelstrom Arena. It's like the Dragonstar Arena from Craggle 1, except it's one player. So basically, you go to this particular location in the top right of the map. You go through an Oblivion hole, which is sort of like I guess like a wormhole or something. Takes you to this weird place in the sand. You run along. You talk to her wife, and you start your Maelstrom Arena. So your Maelstrom Arena is basically for one person, and you're running around in a confined area. You can't run off the map or anything. It is literally an arena, with wave after wave of enemies coming at you. And at the end of each wave, there's usually a boss. And after a couple of waves, you finish that arena. You go into the next one, and then you go into the next one, and you go into the next one, until you finally complete the entire arena. It's a challenge, to say the least. It's actually quite hard. The pickups do help that are in there, so you've got like pickups for haste and armor and weapon damage and health recovery, and they do help. Apparently, it affects your score if you use them, but I'm not going to lie, I don't think I'd be able to get through the Maelstrom Arena without them. I know people do. I just, with myself being a tank, I just don't cause enough damage to be able to get through them fast enough. So I don't think I'm ever going to be able to do it without them pickups. But it is certainly a challenge. Like each one's quite different. You've got areas for dwarven technology. You've got areas for ice-based sort of enemies like frost Antonox and stuff. You've got like a planty poison-based arena and such like. And each one's different. And if you're really sort of quick on your toes, you can flick between appropriate weapons. So, for example, if you have like a sword that really damages Daedra, you might be able to use that in the Daedra section. If you've got like a necklace that might be immune to poison and such like, that might be worth banging on. And it does give you an extra challenge, an extra bit of difficulty to experience. But like I say, it is one player experience, and like Dragonstar Arena, it does come with your usual weekly leaderboards and such like as well. And once you're finished, I do believe you can acquire like Maelstrom Arena kit as well in gear sets.
I am a collector of martial styles, a combat connoisseur, arms trainer to the great and lofty. I've decided to train an army of my own. So I asked each of my barons who moved. It's called the Veil of the Sword. but the worst is yet to come. Did you see that? That's action.
Clean the mortal body afterward. A love fest. Fancy a more fight than a mud crab.
Now we kill the wolf. Where do you find these entities? Come forth, my other self.
This won't last much longer.
Return. Give me your strength. Kill. No survivors.
So overall, let's sum up. What do I think of the DLC? Well, the graphics are as good as any other particular area. The environment's really good. The flora and fauna is really good. It sticks to the lore. The characters are well made, and that they do have motivations behind them. They're all individual. They speak as well, which is always a good thing. This still continues with the voice, which is really important for this video game, I feel. It doesn't add any new powers, which I was a bit disappointed with, but it does have plenty of PvE content. Being a PvE player, I really benefit from that sort of experience as well. I do enjoy it. You do feel like there's lots of things to do. These main storyline will probably take maybe like 20 hours if you focus purely on that, but there's that many side missions and stuff to do as per normal, and you've obviously got the Maelstrom Arena and the museum missions as well. You could spend quite some time in here, if I'm honest, and enjoy it. There is I do feel like this is probably bigger than your average province. So don't feel if you're going to purchase the DLC, you're basically just buying an extra province. There is probably more content to it, and it probably is worth your while. But as I said earlier on in the video, I would recommend getting it as part of the bundle with the Thieves Guild, Imperial City, and Dark Brotherhood, because it would work out worthwhile, really. But don't get me wrong, this is very much a PvE experience, and if you're not a PvE player, if you purely just want to sort of base your experience on loads of dungeons and pledges and this, that, and the other, or combat in Cyrodiil and Imperial City and such like, you're probably alright to give this one a miss. There is other activities as well, so to complement sort of like the not being like the pledges in this area for daily quests or whatever. There is dailies in here, but they're more for attacking world bosses in the map. So you don't actually have to go into any particular dungeon or anything. You just go out, find the world boss, and try and chin it. And again, like the Maelstrom Arena, it's quite difficult to do by yourself. You'll find yourself having to search for other players who's willing to go through it as well, and you'll eventually have to get like a party together to go and take on this boss in the area, and it is worth your while when you do it in the end, because you do feel a sense of reward and stuff when you're finished. So there is plenty of things to do, I feel, and the environment's quite large and it looks good and stuff and that. So is it value for money? Yeah, I'd probably say it was, and I would recommend it. What am I going to give it as a score? Oh, I would give this a steady 7.5 out of 10, if I'm honest, really. I would have liked a bit more additions to the character customization, so I would have liked maybe some more powers or such like, or some sort of new skill line, perhaps, like what happened in the Thieves Guild or something. That was maybe a bit of a miss. But I guess it doesn't fit in with the overall storyline and the feel for it, which I sort of see and I sort of get. But yeah, I'd give it a solid 7.5 out of 10, and probably worth your time. Hope this has been beneficial for you. Thanks very much for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and I'll catch you in a bit. Take care.